Going on, guys? My name is Asian Psycho, and this is going to be an impromptu in-depth episode. Normally I would have like a written script for my in-depth episodes, at least for like the last few. I think except for the map reviews. The map reviews are kind of like live commentated, so they're not really script-based. But most of the time, for most of my in-depth reviews, I would have, or not just reviews, but in-depth videos in general. I would have some sort of script that I would read off of. I think it's pretty clear that I use some sort of script. But in this case, I've decided to switch it up a little bit, and I've decided to kind of do this live, so to speak. So, in this episode, we're going to be covering discussing in depth about the minigun, the M134 minigun that the specialists use, and the Legion minigun that is the epic NX rare variant that any person can use, not just specialists but also your normal characters, and also the special minigun that you get at round 20 of Cabin Fever. So without further ado, let's get this kicked off. So the miniguns. Let's just go down the statistics of the minigun, of the M134 minigun, because that's the first minigun that came out. And let's see, the stats, or first of all, it's background information. The minigun is one of the fastest firing weapons in the game at 90 rate of fire. I mean, that alone should be like said first off. And it does cost for GP 3,200 GP for a day and 12,000 GP for 7 days. So this is quite a hefty price tag for a GP weapon. Then again, it is a specialist weapon, so you know, it's kind of to be understood. It's still expensive though, but at least it's better now, because I think I don't know when it was that they first decreased the price tag, but it used to be the minigun used to be 4,000 GP for 1 day, just the same price tag as the one Miss G case, but I think Nexon kind of saw that, you know, these things are kind of pricey for GP, so they decided to decrease all specialist related items for that were available for GP anyway by like, I think, what, 20% or so. Like, what? Do the math. What's 800 out of about 20? Yeah, they did reduce it by 20%. So yeah, there you go. So it's a little bit cheaper now than it was when Nexon decided to first release the specialist items for GP. So that's good, I guess. At the rank, they also reduced the rank requirements for all specialist related items, not just the minigun, but all specialist related items. I think they all hover around like officer rank, and they decreased it now down to like the grunts rank, so to speak, like the sergeant ranks, command sergeant major. In this case, for the minigun, it is unlocked at command sergeant major 3, and obviously only the specialists can use it. So, let's go to the statistics. Each bullet does 34 damage from the minigun. So, what other submachine gun deals 34 damage? I think the Scorpion. Deals 34 damage as well. So yeah, it's basically got the damage of a medium-powered submachine gun. Like, it's not as weak as a Uzi, but it's not as strong as, like, say, your T2 or your UMP, so to speak. So it's about you can compare the damage on the minigun to like submachine gun damage, and which makes sense, because the minigun is really only useful for close quarters combat anyway. So I mean, I'd like to see people try using minigun, like spraying across the map, see if you can get some lucky ladders, which I doubt they will. And do this spread on this thing, you know. Anyways, so that's the damage. Portability is at a 10, which is the lowest portability of any item in Combat Arms. This is only shared by the other miniguns and also the M2 Browning. So these are the minigun is a very, very heavy weapon. I mean, it's to be understood. It's a goddamn minigun. I mean, you don't really see like soldiers carrying miniguns on them unless you're playing like Black Ops or a Serious Sam BFE, where they go around miniguns at like walking speed. Yeah, that doesn't make much sense, does it now? Didn't think so. Rate of fire is at a 90. I'm honestly surprised that it's not even higher. Because, I mean, think about it. It's a goddamn minigun. You're firing, I mean, in real life it fires like 4,000 rounds per minute, right? Or something like that. I mean, basically, this is one of your fastest firing weapons in the game. And I'm not surprised that it doesn't have more rate of fire than this. So, Honestly speaking, I feel like it does have more rate of fire than its numerical statistic does allow for, but whatever. Accuracy. The accuracy on the M134 minigun is at 55, but we don't give a shit about that because it's a fucking minigun. Well, who the hell cares about accuracy when you have 500 rounds to burn through? You've got a minigun. Just go up to people and spray them down, for God's sake. No regards to accuracy. Anyways, the recoil on the M134 minigun is at a 90, and this is the highest recoil of any weapon in combat arms. 90 recoil. So okay, so let's back up a little bit here. Let's talk about the recoil more in depth, because obviously the recoil is one of the biggest downsides to the minigun, because in exchange for its extremely fast rate of fire, its huge ammo capacity, and its overall insane DPS time, it's gotta have some sort of drawback, and those drawbacks come in the form of slow portability and extremely bad recoil. So recoil spread. The recoil spread is honestly the biggest of any weapon in combat arms. Let's put it at that. And you really can't get much worse spread than the minigun. I mean, just standing still, like, you know, just standing still and crouching down, it's got the worst spread of anything, except maybe for the sniper rifles. But then again, you can't see this round on sniper rifles, so we can ignore those. I mean, it's no better than machine gun spread if you're standing or if you're crouching down. And let's not even mention what happens when you walk around, when you start to walk around with it, let alone start to spool it up and fire it. It's pretty much machine gun status when you're walking around, and that's not even firing. So what happens when you do decide to fire at the minigun? Well, the spread instantly goes to max. It instantly. Let me repeat that again. Instantly goes up to max. You fire more than 2 bullets on the minigun, it goes to max like immediately. That's how bad the recoil is on the minigun. And let's not even talk about the recoil kickback, because obviously most of you guys already know how bad the kickback is on the minigun. So, just for the sake of discussion, the recoil kickback on the minigun goes straight up and then wobbles from side to side very heavily. The easiest way to negate this is to drag your mouse down as the minigun shoots up. So that, you know, you can keep your aim on target and not have to, and basically compensate for the fact that the minigun's recoil kickback goes straight up at first. The tricky part is to deal with the side-to-side recoil. Now, that's the trickiest part. I do not recommend that you try to negate the side-to-side recoil. Instead of trying to use your mouse to counteract the side-to-side recoil, move around. Use your WASD keys in order to reposition yourselves, because that's a lot more handy than actually using the minigun. However, if you got multiple targets you need to engage, obviously you need to use your mouse for that. So, yeah. Just do as you need to and mow people down with the minigun, because that's what the minigun's intended to do. So yeah, overall recoil controllability, you can't control this thing! What the fuck? You can't control the recoil on the M134 minigun. You just can't. It's not physically possible. Because if it were, then this thing would be the most overpowered thing in the game. Let's just leave it at that. So recoil controllability, you do not need to worry about it, because you just can't control it. Yeah, simple as that. And other trivial aspects of the M134 minigun. It does come with 500 rounds per it doesn't even have a magazine. It's belt fed, and it has no spare ammo. It just comes with 500 rounds, and that's it. That's all you get. Unless there's another specialist kind enough to have a warlord pack lying around somewhere, then you can refill the ammo. Surprisingly enough, but I guess it's not a surprise because the minigun is bullet based and not explosive based like the M32. But in any case, you can refill the ammo on the M134 minigun, and surprisingly enough, the reload speed on the minigun is like the fastest reload speed that you could ever ask for. Like all your character does is like pull back the minigun and then pull it out again, and there you go. That's the reload speed. That's it. You're done. You're good to go again. So yes, funnily enough, the M134 minigun does have an extremely fast reload speed. I guess that's a good thing, right? So yes, it does have 500 rounds. It has the most amount of ammo of any bullet-based weapon in combat arms, which goes on to say it's you run out of ammo. I mean, it's hard to run out of ammo completely with the minigun, but it's pretty easy to at the same time. I mean, all you need to do is just hold down the trigger and start spraying, and then you'll only last for like what, maybe 15 seconds, 10 seconds. Maybe that amount of time is too long, or too short. I don't never know, but in any case, you'll most likely run out of bullets before 15 seconds. So there you go. So the M134 minigun. These traits there's this one important thing about the minigun that you must know about, and it's also one of the minigun's cons, in that it makes the minigun very tricky to use. The minigun, the Legion, and the special minigun in Cabin Fever, they all have a spooling system. And what I mean by spooling system is that the miniguns do not fire immediately. Unlike most other weapons in this game, where you just click and it instantly fires, the minigun does not fire immediately. That's one of the balancing features that the minigun has. You can't just go up to people and just hold down left click and expect the minigun to immediately start opening fire. You can't do that, because that's not how the minigun works. How the minigun works is that you have to spool the minigun first. And what I mean by spooling is that you need to hold down the left click until you hear your minigun rev up. Basically, it's just revving your minigun up like you would like a car engine or something like that. You need to rev it up so that the barrels start turning. Once the minigun reaches that highest frequency of revving, then you know it's ready to fire, and then you start shooting. That's how the minigun works. The spooling time, just the time that it takes for right when you start holding down the left click until your minigun actually starts firing, it takes about a second and a half, maybe 2 seconds. But I'm thinking it's more like somewhere in between 1 second and 1.5 seconds. So that means that you need to be ready. If you're planning to, you have to be ready. Like, there's no option. You need to be ready with the minigun. You have to be spooling it in expectancy that someone will come up to you at any time. Because, if you get flanked, if you're taken off guard, and you're not spooling your minigun, you're good as dead. Your minigun will not, unless the enemy shooting at you is a total noob, and they don't know how to aim, the time that it takes for your minigun to spool up so that it's ready to fire, it's going to take too long. There's no way you're going to survive under normal circumstances. If you're caught basically with your pants down with a minigun. If you don't have it spooled up and ready to go, then you're dead. That's it. That's the end of the line. There's no getting around it. So that's why with the minigun, unless you know that you're really, really safe, like you have lots of teammates around you, you know that the area you're in is not going to have any enemies coming along anytime soon, then you can kind of, relax a little bit, I suppose. But in places where you know that enemy, it's like a high traffic area of enemies that you're in, then you should always be spooling the minigun, and you should never sprint with the minigun. That's another tip that I have for people who want to use a minigun effectively. Never sprint with the minigun unless you know you're about to, unless it's a waste of time for you to pull out your melee weapon and then switch back to your minigun immediately again. Then what's the point of that, But if you're planning to run like a long distance to get to a place where you want to set up to use the minigun, then don't use your minigun. It's just way too heavy. God help you if you don't have any speed gear as well. Portability of 10, that's like snail's pace. Like even a houser with a machine gun can walk faster than you. That's how pitifully heavy the minigun is. So that's another tip I have with the minigun. Don't run with it unless it's going to be a waste of time for you to pull out something else and then switch back to the minigun. Because another con about the minigun is that it also has a very, very long draw speed. That should be understandable because it's a heavy ass weapon. But it just takes a long time to just draw it from your backpack. It takes a long time. I think it takes like 2, maybe even 3 seconds. I don't even know, but it's a long time. And those two things, the spooling feature and the extremely slow draw speed, those are what make the minigun very, very tricky to use. So my tip is that you should always play combat arms. If you're going to use a minigun, is to always have your sound on. Always have your sound on and pay attention to your minigun. As you're spooling it up, if you keep practicing, you'll start to get the hang of when the minigun is about to be ready to fire. And also you'll get better and better at spooling the minigun so that it's pretty much at the verge of firing, but you're not actually firing it. That's the optimal place you want to be. You want to be revving your minigun constantly, so that it's at the point where you can fire it at any time. It's going to be almost instantaneous, but at the same time, it's not overdoing it, and you don't accidentally like burst a few bullets by accident. So that's the optimal place you want to be. And there's two ways that you can go about revving, spooling your minigun. One is to hold down the minigun so that it spools up until it's barely there, like barely at the point of where you can fire with it, and then from there you just go, repeatedly tap the left click, so that it kind of does like that thing like that. Wow. I feel like a total idiot now. But anyways, I hope you guys understand what I mean, because that's literally what the minigun sounds like. You basically you're tapping so that it constantly revs, so that it's barely there, but you can start firing at a moment's notice. That's one way to do it. Another way to spool up the minigun is to kind of hold it be in like a like bursting, almost like bursting, where you hold down the left click for like maybe a second at a time, and then let go, second at a time, let go, second at a time, let go. I personally use the first way, because that's how I've always used the minigun. But whatever works for you, then I suppose that's good. Now that I realize I didn't talk about how much an exit costs, but whatever, you guys can search that up for yourselves, right? I mean, it's supposed to be GP. Any case, I also just realized that the minigun that is in Cabin Fever is also the minigun that the Super Spy has. Okay, we'll talk about those later. In any case, those are the quirks about the minigun. That's the main spooling feature of the minigun that you need to learn how to master in order to use the minigun at least semi-effectively. I mean, the minigun is by no means like the most effective means of killing people, because in fact, it's probably one of the most inefficient way to kill people. But it does have the potential to get you some very very many pretty accolades. I'm pretty sure some of you guys remember me getting those them unbelievables with the Legion. In any case, so yeah, the minigun is a very very fun weapon to use. But it does take some mastery. It's not for just noobs to pick up and be like, oh hey, we're so badass with this minigun, guys, and they don't realize that they need to spool up the minigun first, and they just get headshot by M16. Anyways, so that's the minigun. Moving on to the Legion. The Legion is basically like a copy pasta version of the minigun. I mean, basically all its stats are the same, except for some reason Commander's Wiki says that the rate of fire on the Legion is now 100. So that means that the Legion has faster rate of fire than the minigun. Okay, I didn't know that. So this means that obviously its DPS time is much fucking higher. So that means that the Legion is able to kill people even faster. So yeah, I suppose the Nexon just basically buffed the Legion over the minigun like about 1,000-fold, because now you get to shoot faster, people will die faster. Don't be at the other end of the barrel on this thing, right? One thing that I would like to emphasize with the Legion is that it does behave mechanically identically to the M134 minigun that specialists use. It works by the same spooling feature, and yeah, basically just spool it, hold it there, and then fire whenever you're ready to. And unfortunately, it's only been featured in one case so far, and that is Mist Papa. But it is available in the Soldier's Fortune if you so choose to play that for whatever reason. So, and also for some reason I've heard that some people actually got the Legion for permanent, which I'm extremely jealous of you. I want to hack your account, but I won't, because stealing is bad. But in any case, the Legion. The Legion is basically a glorified minigun, and it looks, honestly, much more fucking badass. With, like, I mean, it's got that demonic symbol on the belt, on the magazine where it holds all the bullets, and the barrels are basically stained blood-colored. That, honestly, looks badass. And, yeah. The only change in statistic that the Legion offers over the original minigun is its rate of fire, in which Nexon increased the rate of fire from 90 to 100. So the Legion is, safely speaking, the fastest firing thing in this game. And also, even though they don't mention this, even though Nexon says that, or Common Wiki anyway, says that the Legion has 90 recoil, which is the same as it is on the minigun, I honestly feel that the minigun, the Legion's recoil kickback has been slightly reduced, so it doesn't kick up as high up and as left to right as the minigun does. I feel that the Legion kind of fires in like a circular pattern, if you know what I mean, like circular, like it kicks up and then it starts going in circles. I don't know really how best to describe it, but I feel like at the very least, if it's not improved, the Legion's recoil aspects have been altered so that they're they're easier to master. So there you go. That's pretty much it. More trivia about the Legion. It is one of 3 epic weapons that are truly epic. What I mean by that is that you cannot renew them. The first one being the Azazel, which is the 3rd anniversary epic weapon. And the other one is the Orthus, which is the dual Chris's. And the Legion is the last of them. Or the Legion came second, and then the Orthus came after that, I think. So yeah. So yeah, that's it for the Legion, and moving on to the special miniguns, the one that is held by the Super Spy. If you're playing a Papa server, you get that Super Spy pack, or if you're playing in or if you're playing Spy Hunt and you become the Super Spy. Or if you find it in Cabin Fever on round 20 on Extreme, then you get the special minigun. I like to call it the special minigun, because the thing that's so special about those is that it basically has the same stats, but also it comes with 400 extra rounds, so its starting ammo is at 900. As if 500 wasn't enough, and Nexon decided to effectively double your freaking ammo count. So it has 900 rounds you could use to spray at people. This literally means that you can hold down the trigger for at least a minute, or somewhere around a minute. It's pretty close. So yeah, the minigun's ammo capacity is out of this world. But also, as kind of like a backlash to that, it has the same spooling feature, but it's kind of like a give and take situation here. The spool time on the special minigun, or I'll just call it the Super Spy's minigun. The spool feature on the Super Spy's minigun is shorter. I think it takes like maybe like a half second or maybe a quarter second faster to spool until it's ready to fire. However, you cannot control the spool. What I mean by that is that with the normal M134 minigun, you can control the spool. So if you want to stop firing, you can stop holding down the left click, and then you can immediately start tapping so that the minigun is still revving up, and you can thus fire at any time if you want. So that basically acts like a normal weapon. However, with the Super Spy's minigun, you can't do that. If you stop firing, you need to let the minigun cool down, and then it'll rev back up again. That poses a very significant problem if you're facing against like multiple enemies at once. Say for example, you have like you're the Super Spy and you kill one person with the minigun and you stop firing, and then all of a sudden like 5 people just come at you with knives, and they're all trying to knife you to kill you quickly. Like, what do you do in that situation? There's nothing you can do with the minigun except just put it away and take out like a rocket or a flamethrower or something and either run your ass off or just burn everyone to death or just rocket everyone. That's the only thing you can do. You cannot do anything with the minigun if you're caught in that situation. So that's one of the significant problems with the minigun, is that even though Nexon gives you so much more ammo, sometimes you just need to spray it, because what if you stop firing and all of a sudden, as soon as you stop firing, like all these people start charging you? Like that's the problem with the Super Spy's minigun. You cannot control it. The level of control is not as high as it is on the normal minigun or on the Legion. So that's one of the biggest downsides to the Super Spy's minigun. That also applies the same to the minigun and Cabin Fever, obviously. Other than that, though, the Super Spy's minigun, I also feel like it has even less recoil than the Legion, and that's to be understood, because in Super Spy, if you're facing off against 15 other people, it's kind of tough taking them down with just a minigun. I mean, even though the minigun is an extremely deadly weapon, all people can do is just get really as far away as possible as they can, and they're pretty much safe from the Legion, because the Legion has like batshit terrible recoil, spread, and kickback, so you can't really hit them with the Legion unless you're extremely lucky and lob them across the face. So yeah. Also, for one note about the cabin fever's minigun is that, needless to say, that thing is probably the most effective thing other than a flamethrower to kill zombies with. So yeah, it's no wonder that people always want it. And also strangely enough, the cabin fever minigun is also, all miniguns are able to be have their ammo capacities refilled to max by a specialist warlord pack. Well, in any case, that will wrap up the in-depth episodes on the M134 miniguns, and hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I don't know which episode it is right now because I'm actually planning on getting the sniper rifle in-depth episode out before this one. So, yeah. In any case, thanks for watching, and I hope you guys have enjoyed, and stay tuned for the next in-depth episode. I do not know what it will be on next, but in any case, thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I hope you guys have found something useful, or I hope you guys have found this video useful. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Hacks! Hacks! Hacks!